Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is our April meeting of the Pedestrian and Bicycle Safety Committee. We don't quite have a full quorum. We have some people that are traveling. One of our colleagues is actually in Paris, I believe. So that's, I don't understand why they chose that rather than be here, but I just don't know, you know? But we've got a good representation from everyone. So let's go ahead and get going. Do we have a motion to call the meeting to order?
I so move.
Second.
Okay. First on the agenda is approval for the agenda. That is posted up on our screen. Are there any, I would like to make one adjustment. After we do the agenda, I'm going to share our safety contact with you all, and that's actually a video, so that's not on the agenda, but that's, I think, the only adjustment. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I so move.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Will, if you could show that video, it only takes one line. Thanks, Will. So that's a video actually with a client company I work for, and a client put this together, and we helped them put it together, and it was really just about sort of the theme around, you know, we do a lot of things to try to keep people out of harm's way to protect their well-being, right? And they really like this idea about we all have different ways of engaging with people, we have different ways of talking, so we actually help them, and those are the voices of the client talking about different ways they talk to their colleagues about safety. And I think the same thing can sort of apply to us, right? I mean, we don't know all the work we're putting in around the Pedestrian and Bicycle Safety Committee. We don't know what that's gonna prevent, what that's gonna avoid, but we do know it's the right thing to do, right? It's about engaging people, raising their awareness, and so to me, there's a little bit of inspiration there that one of these lines, one of these videos we show at a movie or have a contact with somebody in an event, raise their awareness, that might make a difference. And so it's something I think we can be very proud of what we're trying to accomplish and do. So I just wanted to share that with you all as a little bit of a motivation and a thank you and for our effort. Okay? Great. So do we have approval of the minutes from the March 30th meeting?
I
So move. Or second.
Second? Great, thank you. So the next thing on the agenda is an update from our town manager and assistant town manager. They both have conflicts today. They're at other events that are important. One's emergency planning, the other's Terry's at an event up in Lake Bethany, I think, on the lake there, I guess. Julie, if you want to just update us for anything specific from the town, it'd be great. Thank you.
Sure. Do you want me to go into the rollout plan? Or
No, this is really just general.
Just in
Or
general.
anything you want to, yeah, just.
I would say the D3, the app that we're looking into doing, and Wave would be a part of that. So
Great.
I'm meeting with the company within the next couple of weeks because we are targeting to have that rollout Memorial Day weekend, or at least in time for the majority of the season. So by June, depending on how soon they can get that together for us.
Super, okay.
So more to come on that.
So Julie, just to add to that a little bit, because I know we talked about it once before, but if anyone new is listening, what is this app about, and what's the intent?
It's a progressive web app that would be not just specific. Most people are aware of apps that you get on your phones, but not everybody has smartphones. So it would be more universal, so anybody can access it through the website. It's same setup as being done in Ocean City, and also Southern Delaware Tourism already has it in place, so we would just have something custom designed for Bethany Beach, so they could have access to information, real-time information. So if events are canceled, or if we have weather events, or if there are emergency alerts or security issues, we could put it right there, and people have access to that without having to go through many different steps.
Great. So it's really taking advantage of our technology, right? You know, we try to, a lot of things we're working on is a little bit, I would sort of characterize it sort of a push kind of approach where we're trying to get things out. And I think the app is really a pull, right? People know it's there and they can go access it when they need it, real time.
It'd be very helpful for the rental companies too.
Right.
So it's for locals and visitors. But I've reached out to a lot of the department heads on the staff to get their input on frequently asked questions and what is most important to those people coming to town. So that's what we're trying to fill that need.
Great. Thanks, Julie. That's awesome. I think that's really a staying current. I know from my personal experience, going to an app is not the first thing I would do, but I am like a dinosaur in this, so most people, that's exactly what they would do. So it's really, I think, really a great initiative, and it'll help us in a lot of different ways. So, okay, thank you, Julie. We have Sergeant Foley with us to provide an update. And hey, I want to ask, did you have a good family get-together in North Carolina?
My father-in-law retired from his company in North Carolina, so it wasn't the most fun trip with 2 kids in a car ride, but it was doable. It was doable.
So you're sort of glad to be, it was fun, but you're glad to be back at work?
I'm very glad to be back. Not a fun drive. The only thing I have to update here from the last meeting I was in attendance, the police department responded to Lord Baltimore last week for a bike rodeo with the 3rd grade class. You may have seen it on our social media handles. Myself, Sergeant Bradshaw of Oshview, who's the school resource officer over there, set it up, and Officer Caselli, who was trained through a PIMBA by me a couple years ago. There's 5 3rd grade classes. They came through. Office of Highway Safety was in attendance as well. We did a bike rodeo. Very, very, very fun. It was probably 35, 40 minutes per class. We were there maybe 5 or 6 hours throughout the day. Very, very fun. Really good engagement with the kids. Future bike enthusiasts down the road, maybe I did a little recruiting for our seasonal officers because some of them could really, really ride bikes. So that's really the only update that we have on the police department side. I have reached out to Sea Colony regarding their J1 outreach program. As I said, pre-COVID in years past, we have gone down there and educated them on bike laws, traffic safety, and victimization. I think moving forward with this committee, it would be great to have 1 or 2 members join me in that. I just have not heard back from Sea Colony as of yet. I honestly can't tell you if they still do J1s post-COVID, so I'm still waiting to hear back from them. So that's a possibility for another future engagement with the group.
Awesome.
That's good.
You know, thank you, Sergeant Foley. I think our colleagues or our partners from down the street, South Bethany, talked about at our last meeting. They did their police department did a bike rodeo as well, and evidently it was quite successful. So it was sort of piqued our interest a little bit. So, and I just, you know, as a father of not young kids anymore, but I can just imagine them going home and telling their families, and they're about, oh, Sergeant Foley, it was so cool, blah, blah, blah. And it really makes a difference. I mean, that literally, we talk about saving a life, that can have an impact, you know, and let alone long-range recruiting.
Right. We did look into doing it for the town.
Yeah.
We don't have the juvenile population that's full-time residency here, so it's tough for us to engage them. We spoke to our administration, too, in the police department. When people come down here for a week in the summertime, the last thing they want to do is have something scheduled and attend. I know Millsboro Police Department does a really good bike rodeo in the Lowe's parking lot during the end of the school year, and it's a massive event. We unfortunately just don't have the clientele to host that in this town and the age group to target. But
Right.
summertime, we looked into doing it in the summertime, and we just don't feel like the general population, parents don't want to sign their kids up for something like that when they could go to the beach or take them to dinner or something like that. So
Right.
we did look into that.
Right. Well, and I think it's great, just from a community perspective, that, you know, you're partnering with our colleagues up in Ocean View,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
just part of the, you know, not who owns what, but just
Right.
help and support
Right,
the
teamwork.
effort and making an impact. So that's awesome. Yeah, and I would just offer up, please, Tim.
Yeah, sorry, quick question, just for purposes of the calendar, what's the hours for the bike safety checkpoints?
I got that under the last thing coming up. They're going to be
Oh,
8
I'm sorry, if you weren't finished,
8
go
a.m.
ahead.
to
I thought
11.
you-
Yeah, no, I was going to hold that off to the end of the meeting, but they're 8 a.m. to 11. It's probably the biggest time for bike and traffic, bike and pedestrian traffic volumes at the intersection we target. 8 to 11 a.m., everybody's going to work, out walking, really, really big engagement. And not as hot. It's not as hot and humid at 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other point you mentioned, Sergeant Wheel, if, as you get these other dates lined up for the potential outreach, I guess it was the C Colony, the V1, let us know. I'm sure we could get a couple folks to help out from our team.
It might be a last-second availability. They call and email me, and if I'm available, excuse me, I usually go down, so it might be like a 3 or 4 day. I have OCD, I like to be planned. Sometimes they reach out and say, oh, we forgot to get you, can you come down in 3 days? So if it's last second, I apologize in advance for that, it's not on me.
Yeah, so if that comes up, just send a note out and whoever's available,
Yeah.
we can jump in. So that's awesome. We'd be glad to help you, and that would be super.
You've trained us well.
Thank you again, Sergeant Foley. Next thing on the agenda is the findings from the traffic safety group. I don't think we have that back yet, the more detailed view, so that will be something we'll continue to look at. I think that'll be, obviously have a lot of value for the entirety of the town council, but we have a very specific focus on it, so it'll be very helpful when we get that to be able to do a little research, delve into it, and see if there's anything that comes out of it that we can recommend or work toward. So we'll keep that up on the agenda. I think that's, my guess is, and I didn't chat with Cliff before, that should be forthcoming relatively soon. It seemed like it's been in the next couple months, for a couple months, so my guess is it's going to be nearby. Okay? Makes sense? And that may be something we can do, some stuff we can do offline as well, so it's not necessarily we do a little research, look at it, and then come together or part of one of our meetings and maybe do a little deeper dive and understanding. Usually there's some good ability to do some what-ifs with that too, depending on you know, the way the program's put together, so that might be helpful for us too. We don't have Faith or Teresa here to talk about potential guests for future meetings. So I don't know what the status is of that. We'll continue to do that. I think we've had, as you know, the North Bethany Coalition. We had our friends from South Bethany here, our last meeting. That's really a great sharing opportunity where we talk about, you know, things that are working for both of us. They're very, very interested. I know the South Bethany folks are the whole WAVE initiative and how we can partner with that. So that's what it's all about, to try to create that sharing and learning for us, right? It's a two-way street. So we'll, and if anyone on the anyone on our team or community or other council members have any suggestions to reach out to, I sort of have a working list, but if anyone else you think would be helpful to come, we can certainly extend the invite, and I'm sure Teresa and Faith would be helpful.
I gave a name to Teresa.
Good, yeah, and they've got the ball, they're running with it, so we'll, okay? So let's move into any other, just, this was all under the general business of what we're working on. Anything else that anyone wants to add before we get into specific WAVE?
I have two concerns, and I don't know whether this is the time. to bring it up or not. Okay. One is that, this is for like a little safety speech occurrences that we've had. If you're walking or running down one, and cars are crossing one, they never look to their right. And so, I mean, I end up stopping at every intersection just to make sure cars are coming. Is there some way that on those stop signs we can say, look both ways underneath?
Where exactly are you talking about?
I mean, all the stop signs that go into one.
Yep.
Basically, that cars can cross.
Right.
I mean, or even if they're not looking both ways, and the runners are running toward traffic.
Yep.
And they're looking against traffic because that's where they're turning in.
Yep.
So I was just wondering, I don't know whether there's something that we can do, post on those signs saying, look both ways underneath the stop sign.
I think it's a great idea. Why don't we look into that with, with Cliff and team? Now, they did make an upgrade. I apologize. I remember this was either from the council meeting or our last meeting. Cliff mentioned they did added something to one of the signs there about flashing lights, but it was actually a signage, if you will, to help people be more aware of that. So this is in addition to that, really. This is in the
Okay, well, I don't know if those are those on every stop sign now? I mean,
yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying yes to that.
I don't
I'm
view it
saying,
I don't see the stop sign part. I just see, I'm just
right.
going the other direction.
Yeah, and that actually, so I'll make sure, I'll lift that back up to Cliff and chat about it. But also that becomes something we can think about, Tim, when we're talking about our community engagement piece, right? That could be a point of emphasis, and I know Jerry's got some ideas too, so we'll get his in when we get to that, so.
Actually, I think it's a
you.
good
Okay.
idea. I mean, if you're walking or running, jogging down Route 1, you're supposed to be facing traffic, and
Cars aren't coming across.
I don't even remember looking to the right. I'm always looking to the left.
Right, that's true. Oh, I do the same thing. You're like-
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'll pile on. I mean, I've had more than one occasion where I've had to, running down and the person, they're entering a one-way road.
Right.
And they look that way, and all of a sudden they turn to go, and there's a runner about to hit, so.
yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And they're just as shocked to see you when they see you. They really are. They go,
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm completely with you. I almost got hit by a car. It was early, I was running one morning, I mean, this was a couple of years ago, and was going up Route 1, and light hadn't been coming up yet, so he didn't see me, and I assumed he was gonna stop and didn't even slow down a lick, and luckily I stopped, but, yeah, so let's, we've got that on our list of things that we want to try to consider and upgrade, and again, was any kind of interaction we're having with the community and guests, that's just more conversation we can have, right, and awareness. Because at the end of the day, right, when we're talking about walking or running up on one, you got to be looking 360 all the time. It's not just both ways, it's literally,
it's true.
so that's the whole focus of what we're trying to do, right? And, but it's, maybe we can do something from the signage perspective, Diane, that's awesome, good idea.
If anybody's ever in the developments just north of town, if you exit, one of the private developments on Oceanside, when you exit, the stop signs say, obviously stop. I'm talking like the gated communities. There is signs on the bottom of the stop sign that say, look both ways.
There you go.
For runners and joggers, or it will say, look again. The big thing up there is what you mentioned,
Yeah.
a lot of pedestrians get struck. Again, everybody, it's negligent on the motor vehicle operators. It's again getting from point A to point B as fast as they can
Yes.
when they are in town. I would say the big places in Bethany, I've seen it, Wawa, it's a high
No,
pedestrian
that's
area.
true. Oh, I haven't thought about that. Yes.
There is no stop sign. We have a lot of people walking in that corridor. Anywhere along 26 and maybe anywhere along the coming off of 300 block, traveling east across Route 1 would be excellent locations for that. It might be as simple, I don't know anything about it, it might be as simple as ordering signs and having Public Works drill them on town stop signs.
Right.
I don't know if Del Dot has to get
I
involved
don't know
with
if
that,
they
but
can, yeah, you gotta figure that out.
it,
if it's
just,
illegal.
just a sign that says, look again, or watch for runners and joggers, that would be probably the easiest thing.
Great, super. Well, I'll actually go up, Sergeant, and take a photo or two of what you're talking about, and then share that with Cliff and team, and then see if we can go ahead and, and particularly those, 26 is really, I think that's a great
26 I
upgrade.
never thought
because
about it.
That's
That is,
actually
yeah.
probably the worst, because it's such a, there's very little bit way stop sign. It's just everybody sort of trying to get on 26 or off 26
Right.
as quick as they can.
Right.
From a driving perspective, and then with all the people on it. So that's awesome. Thank you, Diane. Appreciate it. Carl, did you have something else? I'm sorry.
No, that was it. I agree with Diane.
Okay.
We talked about it.
Tim, we're gonna get
I was just weighing in on this one, too.
awesome.
Great idea.
Great. Super. Anybody from the community that's here that wants to add to that, just in general? Anyone? Jerry, you were sharing something with me this morning. Hey, Jerry, can you use the?
Here's a mic. Mic's coming, Jerry.
Jerry Morris, 331 Sandpiper Drive. The town, again, will have a sign that flashes blue and red when people are speeding down Route 1 to
Right.
warn them that the flashing lights are going to be going off and on. Unfortunately, I think 90% of the people that come here for a week's vacation have no idea what these flashing lights mean.
Yeah.
And we get a fresh batch every week. It wasn't my suggestion. Judy came up with an idea that possibly, because the biggest problem that we see from where we live in the canal are the people that are coming down Route 1, passing the National Guard base, and they're not paying a lot of attention because the speed limit is dropping rapidly. I send to my community, to everybody, just because you push the light doesn't mean people are going to stop.
Right.
Make sure they stop before you step into the intersection.
Right.
However, it may be interesting if we could have people have that light flash, and then have somebody periodically during the summer standing there with a safety vest on and maybe some sort of a flag. I'm not sure what kind of a flag, but some kind of a warning flag they would wave this and warn the people, not only that the flashing lights are there, but there are going to be people stepping into the intersection. From a safety standpoint, obviously this person's not going to step into the intersection either, but maybe that flag might give
another-
them more of a warning
Right.
that this is happening. And once it goes off in their mind, I noticed this spring, as we're crossing the street, more and more people are stopping, but
Yep.
they are locals. Majority of them have Delaware license plates.
Right.
So it doesn't take care of the visitors, but at least the locals are starting to respond to that flashing light.
Right. That's I think another great opportunity to look at. Part of that can be in our community
I know
engagement.
that Judy said she'd volunteer to, you get her a flag and a vest, and she'll stand out there.
Montgomery County has,
Follow up with Judy
that's
to
sweet, can't
trust
get their
but
attention.
verify is part of it.
we could video you. No, Montgomery County has a program on a few streets where there's flags on one side, and then you carry it to the other when you're crossing and put it down. So there's multiple flags, they do that, but, then you lose the flags.
Well,
But I think that's a good program.
yeah, well, I mean, literally, I was in Salt Lake City 2 weeks ago, and they have the same thing. They have, pretty large boulevards. It's a very well laid out city, but 3 or 4 lane roads that main drags up and down, and they literally have flags, and the idea is you use those, you walk across, and then you
yeah.
deposit them on the other side. So there's this.
Yeah,
And it's not for having someone do it for them. They actually take the ideas then to
yourself.
walk it across. So who knows? We could maybe that's worth a try, right? So good.
I got 2 things to add to that.
Please.
South Bethany, they don't have the active orange light beacons like we do. If you pay attention while you're traveling, especially southbound on Route 1, they have the pedestrian crosswalk signage, and there's little tiny, I think they blow in the wind, there's little tiny red things on, like the
Oh,
caps.
yeah, yeah.
They catch your attention. I do know when the town installed new stop signs, we're going back to 2003 or 4 on Pennsylvania Avenue, Oceanview Parkway, Central, and Oakwood Street. They had orange flags with fresh paint, and the flags caught your attention before anything else under the stop sign. I will say, in defense of the drivers, most of those people, especially when they see a fully marked police car, if anybody ever
yeah.
sees us
Oh,
in
yeah.
a turn lane,
Yes.
I'm telling you right now, cars whiz by us and it shakes the car as you're inside. I don't like doing it. It's very dangerous. However, when they see a car on Route 1 and those orange lights blinking, they skid to come to a stop. Now, they don't have to stop because state law, pedestrians are not allowed to enter the crosswalk until it's
does.
safe to do so. So, majority of what we're seeing is the lack of knowledge of pedestrians. If you're in New York City, I tell people, you're not gonna walk in front of a car that's moving when you have a no crosswalk sign, right? It's common knowledge. They think they can do it here because they're at the beach and we're on their time. So the problem that we see, most accidents that we investigate on Route 1 is cars slowing down, stopping, like on a dime for pedestrians, not even with the beacons blinking, and those cars are getting rear-ended. So it's negligent on the drivers not paying attention to other drivers. As of now, and I'm knock on wood, the pedestrians are not an issue when the lights are on crossing. It's other cars not paying attention to their surroundings,
Yeah,
rear-ending the
behind,
cars
yeah.
that do stop. And they stop on it. The second that light flashes, Oceanview Parkway, I think, is number 2 busiest, and Wellington is number 1. I'm telling you right now, there's skid marks on Route 1 from those cars stopping and then getting rear-ended by other people. That's the biggest problems we have. But those, Mr. Morris, what you said with the people waving flags, I think it's a great idea. I think it's gonna be a major distraction in lieu of what I just said with other vehicles paying attention to what that person's doing on the side of the road rather than what's right in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah, my son got rear-ended.
We have not had a pedestrian, since these lights have been installed, we have not had a pedestrian struck. Now, they're very attentive, and they kind of jump back and throw their hands up. The only collisions that we've investigated are rear-end collisions for cars doing the right thing, but stopping on a dime unsafely for pedestrians.
So, again, I think that's certainly within our purview to think about while we're thinking about pedestrian and bicycle safety, right? We don't want anyone to get hurt. And maybe there's some other opportunities just around safe driving distances, recognize there are gonna be people stopping, right? So you need that little bit of buffer and anticipate it, so it's,
Well,
that might be an opportunity to.
what about that little movable sign that we have? If we have that saying, flashing lights ahead.
So I think we do. There's one up
Yeah,
by the
I
inlet.
think you did do that. Yeah,
There's-
that helps.
There's 2. There's one up by the inlet, and there's one like just by the maintenance shed, Blue
Yes,
Coast Restaurant. Yep.
Yeah.
The one that flashes blue and red catches your attention. And
Yes.
it has people hit the brakes and slow down. The other one says high pedestrian traffic ahead. So one is letting people know to pay attention because there's a lot of pedestrians crossing, and the other one is from the town saying, if you didn't pay attention to the last sign, you're gonna get a $110 ticket.
Yeah,
And these blue and red lights.
that's a good
Yeah.
one.
So,
Yeah.
again, we're doing everything we can, but people are just so darn negligent when they're inside. There's so many distractions nowadays in a car, they're just not paying attention to what's in front of them.
Do you think the reduced speed limits will help?
I don't know. I started my career here in 2006, and I know at that time the speed limit went up. If anybody was around here then, it went up to like 40 or 45 in the winter. So I'm used to it being 35. I know Dewey, it's either 25 or 30.
25 now. Yeah.
Yeah, pedestrians, they don't care. It's the pedestrians that are negligent when it comes to, maybe they're naive when it comes to, speed limit's not a factor in I think in the situation that we're talking about on the crosswalks with the light beacons. But yeah, I think at 30, you're gonna have cars going it's at 35 now.
They're going to go 35 if it's 30.
They're gonna be going 5 miles per hour slower, but they're gonna be still rear-ending the other cars that are trying to do the right thing, I think.
It could also be that the frequent visitors or locals get used to seeing the same thing, so they don't see it anymore.
That's true.
So maybe something like the flag or something else that you suggest might catch their attention in a good way and wake them up to say, oh, they're starting that again, like the pedestrians ahead, or maybe something more clever about, the signs on Route 1, how clever they are about, click it or ticket. They have these expressions that really catch your eye, kind of make you laugh, but they're making light of a serious situation.
Right.
So,
And Julie, you're hitting on a key point too. I mean, just in terms of engagement with people, anything can be a really good idea for a while, but then it becomes a norm. It's like wallpaper. You don't even notice it after a while. So you got to keep it fresh. You got to keep changing it. You got to just keep juice in the air a little bit about, right? And so that's great. Those are some good. Actually, some of those are really great things when you think about other initiatives beyond WAVE or part of WAVE at the end that are part of that. Please, Tim.
Well, and I think, I'm hearing this rear ending, I mean, I can't tell you crossing Wellington how many times we've seen that. And the other thing is the two lanes, one lane decides to stop and the other
Yeah,
one
the other one
doesn't. That's a classic as well. And what I think this kind of begs is, as part of, and maybe this is part of the awareness update, but it's given me a lot of ideas here that I think we should put into we have the WAVE pamphlet, right, that kind of just hits what WAVE stands for, but I think also it's just some overall talking points for all of us when we're at all these events, so we're all kind of giving the same consistent message, all these different things, right? It boils down to just paying attention. You don't know what the other folks are going to do, but I think some of these key points for both bikers and pedestrians and for driving, just I'll take an action to kind of put together a draft of talking points for all of us that we can kind of all look at and edit and all that, so.
Yeah, that would really be, that's awesome, Tim. Thank you. That's sort of like an evergreen document. We'll keep adding to it, and that's great. Thank you, sir. All right.
wait.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Can you and you got your mic. Awesome. The system's working.
It's on. Janie Switzer, 318 Wellington. Speed cameras. Has there ever been discussion or consideration for speed cameras, maybe here and
true.
at Jefferson Bridge?
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
Speed. Is this on?
Yes.
Speed cameras. So right here, where people are coming down Route 1, you got a speed camera. And here at Jefferson Bridge, if there was a speed camera, it would really slow people down, certainly to here,
Yeah.
south, and then from here to Jefferson Bridge. I mean, this is like a speedway.
Yeah, even at Ocean View Parkway, we'll stop them from speeding back down to here.
Sergeant, you want to weigh in? And I'll certainly, I've got a perspective as well.
That is way above my pay grade, and I do not know the answers to that.
So,
There's a lot of revenue
Jane-
that comes in from that.
yeah, Jane, I have, having lived in Abu Dhabi and the UAE for a while, they had those. It was an interesting, on a major thoroughfares. I've heard a couple of our representatives, elected representatives from the county, speak not in support of that because of the whole issue of that gets evidently gets contracted out, and they didn't want to have that being done by somebody else. To me, it wasn't a very great response, but I think that is an issue beyond. I don't think we have that purview on a public highway, right? But I think it's. I would have no problem with it, to be honest with you. So why don't we? I'm going to bucket list that and chat with Cliff and the rest of the council. But I literally have heard two county council members speak negatively about that because we were talking about it for Route 1, and I didn't get a chance to sort of dialogue because I like to push back and just at least had a discussion on it, So great, thank you. We'll okay, thank you, everybody. This was super. So let's move into sort of our implementation phase of WAVE. A lot of great effort's been going on over the couple of years, And we're now to the point where we're really going to hit the ground running. So why don't we, Carl and Diane, you have the T-shirt design?
Yep.
And-
Is it up? Can't see. There it is.
This is the front.
So Carl, this is the one you all have looked at and selected, right? And want to put to us to vote?
This is the front, the
And
logo.
we selected, I guess, actually, a couple of different colors. We thought that white, everything would show up on white. We don't have to change anything with the basic designs.
Okay,
If you go to yellow, the orange below, and you'll see it on the back,
yeah.
doesn't show up as well, and we may have to, tweak that color a
Yeah,
little bit.
it could be red,
Okay.
it could be red or something else.
But this is fine. This is just the front.
Yeah.
So the back, if you go to the next one, so that's what the back looks
and
like,
that's the
okay?
back. And so we actually changed, for safety, from yellow to white to make sure that everything showed, was available and you could see it.
Okay. So we've been looking at this for a little while, so
Yeah.
this is great. Thank you for coming back with a recommendation. Does anyone have any comment
Now,
before we vote?
We actually
and-
had thought too of
support
like
it?
a neon yellow that, it depends on I was going to ask Sergeant Foley, what is the safest color for us to have?
I mean, you can see I see them out now cutting the grass, the neon yellow or the neon orange.
Okay.
The parking enforcement officers wear neon yellow, and they can be spotted a mile away.
Okay.
The orange is also very good. I feel like for what we're trying to do and be engaged with the community, I think the white would work for that. I mean, we're not going to be jumping out in traffic and stopping people and endangering ourselves, so I don't see the need for an orange or yellow, but I think this white is professional looking.
So just to keep us rolling, are we okay with the white if we go with that?
I agree, because the 4th of July this year, their shirt is yellow.
Yeah.
So that would be,
Yeah, so let's go.
Sea of yellow.
Why don't, are we okay if we go with
Yeah.
the white?
That's fine. Then we really
that-
don't have to change any, though. I think even that yellow for safety will stand out.
It would, yeah.
Yeah.
If you do the white.
Yeah.
Okay,
If
great.
you do the yellow, then we make that
We'd have to change.
bolder orange. Initially, in the initial design, it was orange.
Right. So we're okay with, great. Why
Yep.
don't we,
Yep.
well, the next step, let's turn this back to, I know Cliff said he'd be more than glad, him and team, to sort of take the ball and run with it in terms of numbers and sizes, and I'm fine to let them sort of
Right.
run that for us.
I have one question for Julie. Can we do stickers with this too?
yeah, as
Because
long as you have the
kids
artwork.
love that. Even at the bike check, they can put it on their helmets so they can
Right.
stick it on their bikes.
Yep.
And for the 4th of July parade is something that we could hand out with their bike kits.
Yes,
Okay.
yep.
Excellent, thank you. Carl and Diane, thank you for taking us through all that. That was awesome, because there were endless possibilities, and you got us down to making a decision.
Julie, I'm afraid, did all the work. She just forwarded it to us.
So thank you both. Sergeant Foley, bike safety checks, I know we've talked about this before, but
So July 27th and August 10th, those are 100% definitive,
Yep.
weather pending. I'll cancel them a day or two depending on the weather. Rain is the only thing that's gonna cancel that event. Del Dot and OHS, I just spoke to them. They were on hand last week at the Lord Baltimore Bike Rodeo. They were not there last year. I told them the amount of contacts that we had, and they're very upset that they missed it, because they get a lot of credit for coming down here and helping us. That's a very, very big help having them. What we're gonna do is have one tent set up for Bethany Beach PD and Wave, and then Del Dot has theirs. They'd have like a, I don't wanna call it a bike maintenance shop, but like they can do tire repair and pull up seat. They have wrenches and stuff like that. They do a lot of outreach with like local bike trails and all that stuff. They provide helmets, reflective stickers, stuff that we do not have. The police department provides all of the bike lights. How it works is I have 2 seasonals who help out. They're very squared away. They do all the bike installations. I do all the questions. A lot of people say, hey, what do I do with this? And what do I do with that? Tim, like you said earlier, the talking points, it's usually right of way with pedestrians and traffic and fair to yield are the 2 biggest issues that we have, and I know those inside and out. And I just explained to people the title of the Title 21 statute of Delaware Code, and then what they should do in those situations while the seasonal officers are installing the bike lights. So I can speak on the law. Wave can pass out the pamphlets and educate in very lay terms, and then the seasonal officers install the bike lights, and it's a 45-second process per person. It's great. So the times for those are gonna be 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., like I said. We've been doing this for 16 years, very, very high traffic volume areas. Weekdays, Wellington Parkway generates 25,505 pedestrians crossing Route 1, going to the beach, and they walk right through us. Weekends, 27,222. I cannot take credit for those numbers. It was a traffic study done years ago. That's why we specifically target Pennsylvania and Wellington Parkway. That's why we're always there. We do some advertisements in the Wave or Coastal Point and promote on our social media handles. This day and age, everybody checks. If there's a happy hour special at Bethany Blues, I don't go to bethanyblues.com, I go on their Facebook page. So everybody's doing the same thing when it comes to our events. They find all the contact info and the time and dates on our Facebook page. So I'll take care of all that. As time gets closer, I'll ask for a couple volunteers. Too many people is not a bad thing, but if you want to come, great. The only reason it'll get canceled is because of rain. That's it.
Great.
So just a quick question. So did you say it's going to be set up at Wellington in Pennsylvania?
Wellington and Pennsylvania, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That little island area.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I was just trying to envision that.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a dog post station, a refuse station for dog waste. It took me 15 years to smart enough to move it from that. So we're going to be
Right.
about 20 yards away from that refuse station.
Well, we've already got a robust set of volunteers for those days. We've actually got 5 people that are up for the July and 3 for the August. So I think we're going to be,
Yep.
we're on a path to be well-staffed to help out there, so.
The other ones that I do mention, I have a couple for other engagement opportunities. I'll save that towards the end. In years past, the police department, we do community education. There's no tickets, there's no enforcement. We stand out at populated intersections, depending on the time and day we're out there, and we simply pass out literature.
Oh, okay.
If I sign up for a gig, I usually get my wife's approval when I can come in and work overtime or stay after work or something. So I have a pretty good idea of when I'm gonna work it. I will gladly email you folks within a week or so and say, hey, I'm doing this overtime gig. I'll be out on foot on this intersection if you want to come and join. I pass out OHS flyers, and you can pass out Wave flyers and get more engagements that way. For the other officers, we have probably 15, 16 full-time 4-hour slots that we do. Some of the other officers come in on their days off and just come in, do it, and leave. I don't know, and I don't know when they individually sign up. So if you do it, I will notify you when I sign up, or if another officer, wants somebody else out there, I can certainly let you guys know that too. But again, it'll be maybe like a 4, 5, 6 day heads up.
Great. I think that's great. So, Sergeant, I think we'd be glad to help anytime. So just send it out, and we'll support yourself or others. That's great. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. Okay, we have community and social media options. Julie?
Okay, I put together a suggested rollout marketing plan, if you want to take one, pass it, just to give us a timeline reference. So May 15th is when parking enforcement begins and the summer rules become in effect. That's when I suggest we should start the rollout, which is really only 2 weeks away. So we'll be in good shape to do it by then. We have all the brochures already and these things in place. So we can begin the video series on YouTube. We did have three different videos along with the 30-second teaser that we could rotate just to change it up and grab attention. Share that with Delaware and Southern Delaware tourism sites. And again, once we get the app, that'll be part of the Progressive app as well. Then we'll start a weekly rotation on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, using posts and reels. Video is the big thing right now, so that would be very good there. And I also suggest when you do these intersection, if you do the intersection meet and education, or even with the bike posts, take your phone and just do some video interviews. Like, what's your biggest concern with safety, or what's your story? And if they're willing to do that, and then send me those little clips, and I'll include that in the rotation, because people really, they don't want just the rules, they want the real feel of what's happening, and they can relate more to people than to officers and staff. They want that. So if we can go that route, that I highly recommend that. And then from a public relations standpoint, we'll put our usual posting of flyers on the community bulletin boards. We'll send the press release out to the local print and broadcast media. The chamber is very good in partnering with us, and the BBLA for the newsletter, and Lee is here, so I'd be happy to contact Mary Louise about getting that on the next newsletter too. And then I'll request coverage from reporters at the Coastal Point, because they might even come and photograph some of these things in action. And speaking of the Coastal Point, if you are interested, or we're interested in doing paid advertising, they're coming out with a special issue for summer called Explore Coastal Delaware, which is a summer guide to locals and visitors, distributed to 15,000 readers and another 15,000 location pieces at different drop boxes, visitor centers, et cetera. So it has a long shelf life. It would carry us through the summer. But again, there is a cost involved in there, anywhere from $139 to $339 for the one-time insertion, depending on the size of the ad we want. And we have to let them know by tomorrow. So that's that. Special events coming up, and I just spoke to the ones that I'm working with. May 28th is Poseidon Festival. I know we talked about this before, but specifically for the festival, Sunday, May 28th, 5:30 to 7 is the meet and greet with all the emergency personnel. So the policemen will be there, the lifeguards, fire department, fire company. So people will be already in that mode of talking and asking questions. So that's the perfect place to hand out those and be part of the table. June 1st, our concert series begins, so we'll start handing out the brochures throughout the season, but that's our first one. June 3rd is the Seaside Craft Show. We have already been assigned a booth, number 307. That's an all-day event that runs 10 to 4:30. We'll be up on the boardwalk with a 12-by-5 table. So I recommend, instead of having someone be obligated for the full day, just have shifts, couple-hour shifts.
Julie, when you say we've been assigned a booth, you're talking about our committee?
Yes, there's a,
Okay,
yes,
great.
as a nonprofit, we have our own table already assigned to us.
Super.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then June 5th, movies begin, so they will air the 30-second trailer before the movie. July 4th, we'll have the brochures on the bike table. And July 5th, there's a kids' night, so we might want to do the stickers, Diane, or anything else that
Yeah,
more
I mean, we
geared to
could even
kids.
have, when they pick them up, some sort of raffle drawing and at the end for a T-shirt.
Yeah, and speaking of T-shirts, so that would be fine after, because the 4th of July teams will be up there selling up until the 4th, so we don't want to interfere by
No.
giving away free T-shirts, with sales of the
No,
4th
no, no,
T-shirts.
no.
So July 5th will be good to go, so that's another good way to do that. And then, so the bike safety checks will be after that, July and August. And Tim, I've put Tim in touch with Lauren over at the chamber, so he could speak a little bit more on our partnering with them.
This is awesome. I mean,
This is great. This is great.
I mean, this is awareness. I mean, this is great. I mean, wow, thank you.
It's one. Do we have a chance on being on Delmarva Life?
We send out a press release.
and they would
If
contact-
they find it
Then they'll contact
newsworthy,
us, yeah.
they'll reach out.
Okay.
I always send it with an email and
Great.
a note. We appreciate any coverage you could provide, and then, put out there.
Tell them we have a video.
Yeah, yeah, well, once they start seeing that,
Yeah.
I think that'll get your attention.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate Tim's comment. Julie, this is awesome. I mean,
It is
it's
great.
just the time and effort and passion that goes into this and really connecting the dots for us, and your area of expertise, it's just really great. So on behalf of everyone, our team and the community, thank you. The paid advertising, I would suggest we do that. I mean, that's not that big of an event, or a cost. If we're at a deadline, let's go ahead and sign up and get it in. That we could almost, would that almost be like a takeout from the brochure? Is that what you need, or do we need to create something for
Yeah,
that?
just an ad we could take right from there.
Yeah, let's try that.
And, yeah, yep.
Is that
okay,
okay?
that's fine. Yep,
So
we
we
could
don't,
do a-
we don't miss that
I
deadline?
think whatever Julie comes up will be
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
Okay,
that's great.
great.
Fantastic. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, community outreach, the WAVE pamphlet, Julie, that's done. That's the next thing on the agenda, but you were way ahead on that with us. We actually collaboratively made some upgrades to it. So that's done. I think they're printed and ready to roll.
Did everyone get a copy of the final? Mm-hmm. I think I gave you
we got
a rough.
I don't know if I got a paper. I got an electronic version, I think.
I got the paper.
Okay, good.
Oh, that was the rough. Here's the final.
Oh,
So it's a little
that
shinier
looks
of a copy.
nice.
Awesome.
That's
have-
glass, that looks nice.
2 boxes in my office, so
Okay.
you're welcome to them.
No, I'm talking.
Oh, yeah, we need, yeah.
So, Tim, why don't you've been really spearheading our community outreach work, so,
Julie's taking care of it for the most part. No, thank you. So I think just a general concept, when we talked last time, one of the key things we were kind of looking at doing was this, I'll call it intersection engagement. And we had some good discussion on that at the last meeting, and we had some good discussion on email about that concept. And I think I think the consensus is that we need to kind of maybe test that out, because a great point was made that we're just random people on an intersection stopping people that are very anxious to get to the beach. And how's that going to go? Versus, I think our actions now are more focused on where can we be where there's a lot of people gathered, and by having a table, it tends to give you some somewhat instant credibility, right, of we're here and here's who we represent. So I think Mickey and I are gonna be the guinea pigs here and choose a weekend or choose one of the days over Memorial Day weekend, do the Wellington and Route 1 and just see how that goes, and then kind of report back. We may find that we were there for 2 hours and we only had 10 engagements and 5 people told us to leave them alone. I mean, whatever, right? And so we'll just get some feedback and go from there.
How would you do this? How long?
2 hours, we're thinking like maybe 10 a.m. to noon. I'm thinking you catch the people that are going to the beach and are going to be crossing Route 1 at Wellington. But we're flexible. I mean, we can do it whenever we want. But that's kind of what our thought process was.
You and I could do Ocean View Parkway.
Yeah. Let them try this one out, then we can do that.
yeah.
Yeah, if you want to try that, I could say Diane and I are close enough to Ocean View Parkway, and you've got most of the places in Hidden Harbor. They're all townhouses, and they're primarily rentals. There are only 7 full-time occupants there right now. That might change, but you would get a lot of pedestrian traffic there also.
Right. So that's great. I mean, I think this can be very, to echo Tim's point, a couple of folks did share, and we had conversation here, how people are going to take this, right? I mean, pedestrians and not being in uniform or whatever. Personally, I have absolutely no issue with that. I mean, I do this stuff all the time for work about engaging, talking to people about safety. So, I mean, the worst somebody does is says they're in a hurry, they're going to go. That's fine. You say, hey, have a good day. We tried.
You wave to them.
we wave, you know? And maybe we give them a T-shirt anyway, just for, but what we do want to do, I want to take seriously the comments you all shared, and if Tim and I do a couple in advance, and we'll capture any best
Yeah,
practices,
that's a good idea.
learnings, and we'll see how it plays out. I mean, this is just a way, to me, you know, that we're doing a lot of things from a structure, or process, kind of communication perspective, right, which is all great. But, you know, when we show it at a video, at a TV, or at a movie, right, they're not crossing the street then. They're crossing the street when they're in a hurry to get there. That's where we also need to connect the dots a little bit. So that's the whole idea of the focus community engagement, not the group. So having both, I think, is great. That's what we've got here. Tim's been taking a lead on building that out. We took the input from you all, and we can grow this. If it's successful, it works, we'll just add some more dates. If we can staff them, fantastic. If not, then that's okay too. We don't want to burden anyone with,
Give us a cheat sheet.
we'll do that. That's what we'll,
Right,
yeah,
that's
we'll,
the same, well, that's the same talking points, right?
Just
that-
talking points,
That I
yeah,
mentioned
that's
earlier.
perfect.
Yeah.
So, kind of that, you know, quote-unquote elevator pitch, right?
And-
You've
Yeah,
got- You've got 30
Stickers?
seconds, what do you say?
yeah, yeah. So,
And then when so we've got a near-term thing tomorrow that I'm not sure we're going to be able to react to. So tomorrow is the registration, and Saturday morning is the registration for the Beach to Bay bike ride. The registration, weather permitting, is supposed to be right over here in the lawn area of the church from 12 to 7, and then 7 to 9 Saturday morning. Weather permitting, we're riding Saturday morning, so I can't do Saturday morning. Conceivably, I may be able to do something tomorrow afternoon. Do we want to rush into this? I mean, I guess I'm trying to balance this out. I mean, we haven't gotten our talking points. Do we want to go live tomorrow when we really haven't gotten our act fully together? I mean, I'm just kind of throwing it out for thought here.
I don't think
anyone want to add to
I don't
Tim's
think
comment?
it's worth it with the weather, too.
So I'd be, Julian, or
I'll have, I think most of the people that ride in that event are avid bike riders. They have more than adequate knowledge of the traffic laws and safety. And also bicycles in the state are considered motor vehicles. So that, I mean, I feel like everything that we're trying to preach is pedestrian and bike safety, where they know a lot. They never really cause problems to people in the,
Yep.
the biking community. Those guys the group is detailed oriented and very well versed in traffic laws. So it might, depending on the weather too, you might not get a lot of engagements because they might see that it's more pedestrian related information and kind of.
And they want to get their registration, and then Saturday morning, they want to ride.
So to build on Sergeant Roy, you're exactly right, and I mean, I know we have a member of our community who's interested because I think because he wants more representation from the bicycle side, which is great. I mean, that's what we are, pedestrian and bicycle. So I would be glad, Tim, I can be there tomorrow in the afternoon. And I can be there in the morning on Saturday, and just we'll sort of see how it goes.
Yeah, okay.
And part of it might be even the conversation might be, hey, I'm concerned about this. Pedestrians don't do this, or this place. So there might be some great learnings that come as we're talking to people. And I'd be glad to. I'll try to be there for both of those, and just work it out, and that's fine. And then.
And more just in a mingling
talking.
around,
We're
not
just-
a
No,
behind
no.
the table kind of thing, right? So
No. We're just gonna chat. Well, I'll talk about what we're doing, and if they have any ideas, suggestions, and we'll be able to bring that back. And but I think it is important that we're hearing the bicycle side as well, not just to your point, we are focusing a lot on pedestrians, so that's it's a group we can get hold of a little bit easier, engage with, but it's. And to Jerry's point, even with drivers, however we can touch base with that, it'll be a different way. But So that's, I'm fine with it. So I'll try to be there for both.
Okay.
That's great.
Good. So then going down the rest of this, Julie, does the Poseidon Festival, is it kind of an all-day concept, or is it like it's from this time? I mean, just help me
It's-
understand kind of what that is.
Yeah, it's the unofficial kickoff to the summer, Memorial Day weekend.
right.
So we start with a band Friday night, and then it's all day Saturday, all day Sunday. So it
Okay.
goes from, 12 to 9
Okay.
both days. And then Monday it ends with the VFW has a service on the bandstand.
So the Friday night would be just the concert, and then Saturday, Sunday would be more your 12, kind of all day, 12 to 9.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you're welcome to be there promoting as well, but we specifically have 5:30 to 7 on Sunday designated for that
Right.
meet and greet. And
Okay.
again, people are actively approaching and asking questions and getting free stuff.
The police department will have an officer on scene too with a table, just like a bike safety checkpoint, and this
Okay.
group's more than welcome to come join us too. Even if you guys want to scrub the idea that you had for Memorial Day weekend, I'm actually working 8 out of 9 days. Sunday's my only day off. Friday night after work, if you guys want to do it with me, we'll get a table. I'll get up in the
Okay.
boardwalk, and I will be in uniform, and you guys can do the wave stuff. We can have engagement with the public. I can be there to answer any of the Delaware code questions. And if you guys want to pass out and do that, rather than an intersection, you can do it where everybody's going to be gathered Friday night. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll set up a table or something up on the boardwalk and just be seen for a couple hours. I get off of work at 4, so if you want to do like a 4 to 6, 4 to 7 is there a concert Friday night?
Yeah, that's the first concert, so
Maybe-
that's 7:30. I would even suggest at these table events, and we'd have to check with Will about that, or bringing a laptop and having the video playing
Oh, yes.
as people are coming. So that will draw attention as well.
So that would be the 26th then, right?
26th, you're talking
I
about?
think Friday, the 26th would probably be
Okay.
the better. And then again, if that's successful, you can then piggyback off the police department's table at the meet and greet with the emergency personnel on Sunday, the 28th. And that's
Excellent.
Okay, so the
Five.
26th and 28th.
That's
Okay.
good.
So
So then
Friday and
let's kind of get focused on Friday and Sunday.
Yeah.
And do it collaboratively versus, doing our own thing or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
great.
um, Okay. And I think on the schedule, the only other concept that I threw out here is the farmer's market.
Yeah.
And is that, again, another many people coming one place, and that tends to be, I mean, heck, you've got a lot of people standing in line for the peaches. That, I mean, what better time to catch them for a few minutes and talk to them? So is that something that we want to kind of build into our schedule as well?
That's June 5th is the first one.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So why don't, Tim, why don't we do this?
4th.
We'll use version 4 of our.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll build out a couple of those and see if someone can volunteer.
Yep.
And, or a couple people.
Oh, yeah,
and we'll see
we'll
how
put
it
them
plays
all
out.
in and say, hey, if nobody can do June 5th, but we have a couple people that are interested in June 12th, then that's our date.
Yeah,
or one
because
of our
worst
dates,
comes to
right?
worst
I
in
mean,
any of these, if we sort of tentatively say, let's try to do something, say for that, and we can't staff, that's okay. We don't have to
Right.
we're doing
Right.
the best we can.
We don't have
If
to
you
hit every
other
Sunday.
commitments, family, that's fine. I mean, we're not broadcasting the world what we're gonna do. It's just more for our internal planning and connection, so. Carl, sir?
St. Martha's has a dinner usually for the Che Win workers. Is there any thought of maybe trying to just be there for at least a period of time and maybe talking to them about, because most of those kids, as I remember, ride bikes or walk. They don't have cars.
I have that on my agenda here, St. Martha's Picnic Outreach. Most of the stuff, St. Martha's has been pretty good even during COVID. The lack of J1 students has kind of diminished over the years. Every time I go down to Sea Colony to do the seminars, St. Martha's representatives are there. They're engaged. And then they let everybody know, hey, we're from St. Martha's Church, just right up the road. We have a picnic. It's like a meet and greet for all the peoples from different countries to get together and socialize. And St. Martha's does a great job, providing food and drinks. So we can go there. I don't know who the specific contact is. They never really invite, I think Oshview Police Department actually goes sometimes because some of the people that give bikes out from Mariners Bethel also piggyback off St. Martha's. Yeah. They leave Bethany Beach Police Department out. It's not that we're uninvited. They just know that we do a lot with those students already down at Sea Colony. So they just don't want us to be like a threatening presence at that point at a picnic. They kind of leave us out.
Carl, could you take the lead and just connect with them and see if we could come and,
I think it's late June.
yeah, that'd be great.
Is that a chamber initiative?
I
think
don't,
they coordinate.
I'm not sure.
I know it's part of their outreach they do mention, so I don't know if they just attend or if they're just community awareness events to go to.
Yep, great, super, yep.
So just a couple more quick things. I did get from Cliff a list. There's evidently not a comprehensive list of all the different associations around here, but he gave me a good list. So if okay, I just want to make sure I'm following protocol here. I mean, is it okay for me to go ahead and reach out to them and say, hey, we'd love to join your community meeting for just a few minutes, and again, using our talking points and
Right,
and go
right.
and so I'll go down that path if that's okay.
Right,
Um,
and I think Diane's already connected with,
I think it's May 17th. Lee, what is that,
well,
yeah.
which neighborhood?
No, it's BBLA's meeting with this other group, and I said I would speak to them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's other associations, isn't it? Yes. Yeah, it's other associations.
Oh, okay.
May 17th, yeah.
You're saying that's kind of a BBLA type event? Okay. Great. I mean, that's another catch many people, so. And then the other thing we had talked about last time that seemed to have some interest was trying to pull together a float for the July 4th parade. Is that something we still want to continue to pursue?
yes. Although I'm not you're, the person who said yes is not the float person, or it wouldn't be very creative, I guess is my point.
Float or truck or convertible or
Yeah.
whatever.
So
I mean, use the term float.
I think Teresa mentioned
Oh, she has a car.
maybe let's touch base with Teresa and see
Okay.
if she could just help coordinate us a little bit. And she seemed like she and her husband had a little bit of juice and energy about how
Okay.
to do that. And then we can, I think it'd be great. I mean, it's a
would be
perfect
nice-
opportunity, so,
Now, at the parade, are all the bikers together, the kids and stuff? It would be nice to be right near that.
Yeah.
And I know BBLA, when they do it, it was just like a convertible, but we always have a banner and people walk with the banner.
yeah.
If our logo could be on a banner, then we could just have, even kids could help carry it. That would be great.
Cool. We got another member of the float committee there.
No, I'm already on the float committee.
No, that's
okay,
great.
no,
Thanks,
that's good.
Tim. Yeah, so let's.
No,
let's-
I'll be.
Yep,
that-
I got
yeah,
Teresa's
that would
name
be
next to
great. Yeah,
that
the
one.
banner and stuff.
And then the last thing, I know we're running over on time, the last thing is Julie's, as she mentioned earlier, she's connected me with the chamber, so there's probably more events coming, that we're down the road, and also I've got gonna reach out to the focused multi-sports group for any 5Ks or whatever, that, again, a chance to be at a place where a lot of people are. So I'll reach out to them as well. And so I think we've got a lot going on
Yeah,
here
this is-
that,
It might be helpful too, Tim, if we could just, it would be helpful, depending on the forum and how you're presenting, or we're presenting, right? Who could be anybody on our team, really. maybe even like a 2 or 3 PowerPoint charts, just to have
That would
if
be
folks want to
great.
use that as a.
That would be great.
just
I've
as
seen
a-
you at the town council. I know you're the PowerPoint guy.
Well, no,
So-
I'm,
no,
I'm,
I-
not, I'm not, but just,
no,
it's
that's
an
a good
easy way
idea.
to
I
sort of
agree.
tee something up and talk to it,
To have,
and
to
so
have the
people
logo,
can
to
see
have the
it.
logo, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, we can, so all that kind of stuff, so we
I mean,
can,
we can even use the one you used.
yeah, that was,
A little bit-
yeah,
little
that
bit
was
more
really pretty
detail, but that was-
lame,
but that was-
yeah, but,
It's a start, it's a start.
it's a start.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great, great, fantastic,
Mickey-
okay.
Mickey, comment.
So, I'm sorry, Jerry.
Farmers Market. I'm on the board of the Farmers Market.
Uh-huh,
We have added extra vendors this year, and our area is going to be packed. But on June 4th, because we're a local grown product, there might be some that aren't going to be there on June 4th, and there'll be a spot probably for you to put a table. So let me check into that and see
Okay.
what vendors are going to be there, and then you can decide whether you want to have a table or not. But normally, we have an open spot. This year, we do not. In fact, we're jamming people in this year, so, okay?
great, thank you, fantastic, thanks, Jerry. Any comment from the community that's here in terms of particularly the WAVE effort? This has been a working dialogue and discussion, so we didn't mean to exclude anyone. We were just trying to work through any upgrades, thoughts, ideas to add to? Okay, all right. Next, the only other thing I really wanted to try to address, or at least talk about, our next meeting date. And I sent an email, be honest with you, and I don't have the paper in front of me.
May 25th, I believe.
May 25th? Would that work for folks? That's right before the Memorial Day weekend for us to come together as a same time, same place kind of thing?
I might not be here, but that's fine.
Okay,
Yes, May 25th.
Okay.
May 25th, June 29th, and August 4th were the
Oh,
dates.
What was it, June 29th and August?
got-
4th, yeah.
And you were also talking about wanting to get coverage at the town council meetings, too.
yes, yeah, and I can do that. We'll do that offline as we
Yep.
keep going.
Yeah, I think tentatively, all those dates you threw out, I'm fine. with.
So let's do this. We've got the 25th of May, 29th of June, and August
August 4th.
4th as just sort of, and we might, if we don't need the meeting, we'll obviously cancel it. It's just sort of, we got a lot of things going on. I think there'll be an opportunity to give some feedback. I think to the degree we can do things offline with communication, that's fine too. But, so why don't we go ahead and we'll pencil those in.
Was that 10 a.m.?
I was thinking 10 to
Yeah.
11.
Yeah.
Yeah, same kind of thing.
Then I will definitely not probably.
Okay.
25th, yeah, okay.
Again, any other issues, concerns, feedback from anyone? Cover? Again, I just want to thank everybody again. You know, at the town council meeting the other day, we talked about this, and I had an opportunity to really brag about the great work you all are doing. They know that, but folks were very, very receptive to the input, the effort going on here, and so I just want to thank everybody. Your efforts are really being noticed, and I know you know that it's important stuff, but it's also nice to know it fits into the bigger picture really well. So thank you. It's just a treat working with everybody, and looking forward to our next few months. Busy, a lot of stuff. Holy cats. All right.
Your work, heading it up.
Will, thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Great. Thank you.
I wanted to talk to you about something, too. The one person that has been here a lot